Broncos v. the Warriors. Hearing whispers the NRL are going to name it the Kemp Cup, but yet to be confirmed. What a moment. What a moment for both clubs. What a moment. Like, to think that what's beautiful about this game is that to think that the Broncos are in a grand final, how good for such a big club that has been, out in the wilderness for however long now. If the Warriors make the grand final, I mean, what an incredible achievement. This game, when you talk about entertainment, I think this game is going to be absolute fireworks. I think you're going to see every part of rugby league that we love. You're going to see the tough stuff. You're going to see the beautiful stuff. It is going to be rugby league personified, and I cannot wait because it's the best stadium for rugby league in the world, Suncorp Stadium.
The halfbacks. I can't wait.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, unreal. And you always talk about, we've spoken about the last 2 or 3 years, the halfbacks, how it's the more mature halfbacks in the game that are just dominating, and this is just the ultimate test of chess, isn't it, between these two?
Mate. Because, heading into this year, would you say that SJ is almost a mental combatant? Like, he battles them mentally? Probably not. Now you're going, holy shit, is SJ going to be trying to play my games with Reynolds? We know Reynolds is going to be trying to play. You know what I mean? You didn't think that battle was going to happen. And yet here we arrive with guys that are definitely, older halfbacks, and yet their impact on the NRL this year has been phenomenal. Phenomenal. Cannot wait. Payne Haas versus Adam Blake.
That forward pack battle is so exciting. They're two of the best packs in the competition, but so different in so many ways. The Broncos are like this big, strong, super fit, really intelligent forward pack. They'll just bust you through the middle and not give you a chance. The Warriors are very different. They're like, a lot of it is their passing and their short interchange of passing. They're very crafty in and around the ruck. So they're different styles of play. Who's going to come out on top?
Yeah. And that's the thing. If you're from the Warriors' perspective, what is the one thing usually that the big explosive forwards struggle with? It's lateral movement in defence. And so from a Warriors perspective, you're sitting there going, boys, that is literally our bread and butter, is creating space around the ruck. So if we can get that game plan right and we can make sure that we can actually get some momentum, they might have real trouble, the Brisbane Broncos, in dominating the ruck, especially when they're defending their line because of the craftiness of the Warriors.
I know they won't, but Christ, as Tim just said, because these matchups are so different in the forward pack, I would love to have a microphone on Pat Carrigan this week.
Oh yeah.
Just to hear his chat in defence up against his side. Because that's where it's won and lost.
Tohu Harris.
Yep.
Like, we talked about Tohu Harris basically being a ball-playing forward. Paddy Carrigan's basically one of the best talking forwards in the competition. And not to say that Tohu doesn't talk. He definitely talks. You see it on the field. But, I mean, Paddy Carrigan he's 10 years his junior to a degree in regards to, when did Tohu debut? 2012 or 13?
Yep.
And, Paddy's in his 3rd or 4th year of first grade, so still kind of young. I know he's 24 years old, 25 years old. But, I mean, this is Paddy's moment. To go up against probably, I know Isaiah Yeo would still be considered the best 13 in the competition, Cam Murray as well. But when you're talking about form 13s, it has to be between Tohu Harris and Paddy Carrigan over the last 6 weeks or so.
Aren't they two guys that you just know they're going to be the last guys to talk before they leave the change room? Like, you just get goosebumps thinking about those two moments there.
The battle is going to be unbelievable.
And equally, the one you mentioned before, Payne Haas versus Adam Blake, I think the last couple of years probably been a bit of a consensus that Payne Haas probably the best front row in the NRL. You can throw a few blokes in the mix, but I think no one would argue too much about that. Adam Blake, who's got, 9 or 10 tries behind him this year, was tremendous on the weekend, fresh, ready to go, just going, nah, I'm the man. I've got you here, mate.
100%. And what I love about them is they're so different.
So different.
So different front rowers. Like, Payne Haas is just work rate through the roof, whereas Adam Blake, more a bit of late footwork at the line. Now, I've spoken about how the Warriors can win it, but how the Broncos can win it is if this forward pack gets rolling and this back line clicks into gear, it's impossible to stop. And again, I would argue that even the Penrith Panthers would struggle to stop if this forward pack clicks into gear and Reece Walsh, Katoni Staggs, Herbie Farnworth, Selwyn Cobbo, Jesse Arthurs, who was great on the weekend. Like, this back line, Ezra Mann, we are talking about some of the most explosive athletes in the competition. You give them a bit of space at Suncorp Stadium, running downhill, very hard to stop.
I'm really looking forward to watching Herbie Farnworth in this game. Defensively, coming up against that Warriors right edge, for me, if you can shut down that right edge of the Warriors, Christ, that takes you a long way. Especially with the Broncos, we know. I think Matty had a stat, might have been off mic before. What was it about the Broncos and their point scoring?
Yeah, so I'll have to get. I think they've had 7 games in a row where they've scored 5 tries or more, and like the record's something like 9, which is pretty crazy.
It's insane,
mate. And another thing I love about this game, what is the one thing that smashes systems apart? Just hyper athletes. These incredible athletes like GI. What do you do? How do you defend GI? You can have all the systems in the world. You can train all week. You can do all the video. You can put a bib on a guy and say, you're getting this. You get to game day. He goes, bang, bang, bang. Thanks for coming. And that's the thing with this Broncos side is even though the Warriors systems are some of the best in the competition, sometimes a system can only go so far. And sometimes athleticism and talent, even though the Warriors are talented, but you look at this Broncos side, it can just smash apart systems. And all of a sudden, it's like, when your systems aren't working, what do you do? How do you defend against that? But it's almost the age-old saying of similar to it is like, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So this system, it's a safer bet. If the Broncos come out and get ahead of themselves and think that they're just this rock star team that's going to make it happen, that's when a system can just swallow you up. Before you know, you look up, there's 10 to go, and they're 12 in front. And that's what's so interesting about this game is that you would argue that Broncos are more of which is ironic to say it about the Warriors, but you would argue the Broncos are more of an ad-lib side, more of a side that huge forwards, offloads, Reece out the back, Reece through the middle. So it's almost system versus off-the-cuff rugby league that we're going to watch. What's the winner? What's going to be the winner?
Jesse Arthur's play left wing?
Yeah, I think so. Well, Corey Oates was dropped for him last week.
Yeah, he was the 18th man. Big test.
It's a huge test. Now, for Brisbane Broncos, yes, it's been an incredible year. Yes, you got to the prelim, and regardless of result, it should be considered a good year for rugby league. But you have the chance to write your own history right now. You have the opportunity to step out of the shadow of the greats that made that jersey synonymous with winning. It's a time to take it. You worked your ass off to get there. It's your time to take it. It's your time to remember all the things that were said only 2 years ago about you as men and you as players. It's the time to let them know that that was wrong and that you'll let your talking you'll let your actions do the talking on the field. For the Warriors, it's about that magic that you captured last week.
Kempy, you're obviously linked with Channel 9 now. Has there been talks about, we know Gus Gould's hung up the boots from those pre-origin speeches. That's some seriously spine-tingling stuff. That's 2 weeks on the trot where you've just come out of nowhere with these breathtaking...
I'm just passionate rugby league fan,
We're a week away from the game and you're just dropping this out.
I'm just a passionate rugby league fan.
I was watching you through it as well. Like you just... I've never seen a bloke more zoned in on something. No idea of what's going on in the rest of the room. You were in there.
Mate, I was on the field with them. I was thinking of Suncorp. I was thinking of the jersey. I was thinking of that grass that you see when you're out there.
That was awesome.
So that record I said before, so it was 7. They started in round 18. They scored 5 tries every week for 7 games, but the Storm stopped them in the final round of the year. So they can't break that record, but it's still a good achievement.
Yeah. Anything else, boys?
Yes. I do. I've got a gripe.
Okay.
The kickoff time.
Oh, for the Warriors fans?
10 to 10 New Zealand time.
I know.
It's so shit.
It is shit.
It's like for all the kids and the Kiwi fans there watching over in NZ, like that's a late kickoff.
Yeah.
Surely you can tinker with it to make it a bit more suitable for them.
I think the problem is the AFL in the same town has moved its time earlier. Whereas they should have flipped it. They should have made the footy game, the league game earlier and AFL later. But yeah, because look, maybe you lose ratings. I'm not sure. I doubt you would, but maybe you do. But like Broncos don't lose anything by doing it at 5 o'clock or whenever. Like it's Arvo footy. That's mad for the Broncos.
Even better for them. Yeah.
So I don't understand why they didn't do that. Maybe it's a news thing, or maybe it needs to finish after news, before news. I don't know.
I think everything always comes back to ratings, doesn't it? So for whatever, and I'm sure the early game probably drops a few viewers, but at what cost?
It does suck. It does suck.
Anyway. That's it though, mate.
Last thing I'd throw in there, and I understand obviously it was for family reasons and whatnot, but geez, Reece Walsh going up against the Warriors this week.
I didn't even think about that.
Huge little narrative there. And I actually completely understand where Reece Walsh coming from, moved over there for family and whatnot, but I'm sure there'd be a lot of Warriors fans that would be sitting there going, hey, you didn't want to be here.
Yeah. It will be interesting, his reception from the Warriors fans.
Yep.
Will be interesting. If someone had said to you the Reece Walsh would leave the Warriors and then meet them in a prelim final,
Unbelievable.
you would have said, you are fucking mental, bro. You are mental. And then oh man, that is going to be so good. And like with Reece, it's just, mate, just run the ball first half. It's going to, it's going to come. Look what happened in the last game. Against the Storm, you could argue, are they better than the Warriors? Maybe, maybe not. But it's against the Storm. What happened? You just ran the ball the first half and then boom, it exploded. And I think that's the key takeaway for Reece is like, don't go in there thinking I need to have 2 try assists in the first 20 minutes. Just run the ball.
You've said it every week, Kempy, this year. Walshy, patience, mate. It will come. You're a freak. You create more attacking opportunities than anyone in the NRL.
Yep.
It'll come.
It'll absolutely, like, guaranteed. Walshy, you can guarantee yourself a line break and a try assist if you just run the ball for the first 40 or so minutes.
Is he in this room? Who are you blokes talking to?
Mate, he's a fucking avid listener, mate. He's an avid listener, the great Reece Walsh.
On the lounge over there.
He loves the potty.
But yeah, and from a Broncos like fan perspective, or not even like, for them, it's not about talent. It's not about do we have the game plan. All it is about is not getting ahead of yourselves and earning the right to the victory, and not believing that it's going to fall on your lap. You have to earn the right to be victorious over the Warriors because they're not going to give it to you, and that's the only thing that could hold them back, which I don't think is going to happen.
Who does a win mean more to this weekend? The career of Shaun Johnson or the career of Adam Reynolds? Arriving to the Broncos as a wooden spoon side, taking them all the way to a grand final, or SJ just leading the Warriors to a grand final in a season where most people didn't have them in the 8?
That's hectic because like SJ is already kind of locked in as one of New Zealand's best, regardless of what happens. Whereas this, as we said last week, it changes the way you look at Renault's career, especially in tandem with what's happening at the Rabbitohs right now.
Yep.
When, guilty as charged, we said it was a good swap. Ilias is a future, and it may still turn out to be. But like right now, they definitely miss Renault this year. So if he was to take them to the grand final, and for a club that's had some incredible halves, that hasn't won a comp since 2006, if he were to do that this year, it changes everything for Reynolds' career. It puts everything in a new light.
I think Reynolds. I really do.
I think as an individual season, like looking at it in that context, if SJ can get the Warriors there, I think that's not significantly, but a fair bit bigger, just because it was a team expected to do no good.
Oh, from that perspective, for sure.
Done, all that. But yeah, if we're talking entire careers, it's a great question.
It's tight.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Yeah, from a like team perspective, definitely Warriors to a GF because the Broncos' talent has never been in doubt. No. It's never been in doubt.
And nor had Reynolds come into the season. We knew he was a gun. He was.
Yeah, fuck, it's a great question, Guru. Fuck, you get some right or sometimes.
Yeah, you throw enough shit at the wall, some will stick.